So I went down the highway and I was going to go to a different spot, but this area happens to be the area where the wind is funneling through least of all places that I can find. So I'm not worried about my microphone sound here. In a previous video I mentioned a book that I wrote, The Kid Who Couldn't Leave the Yard. It's available on Amazon. I think it's $15. My name is Lee Stanlick, S-T-A-N-L-I-C-K. So if you search on Amazon, you'll definitely find it. I wrote it about 2 years ago. I wrote it more for myself than anything. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a story of a young boy who had a disease in his legs and who became addicted to medication that they gave him. And through the healing power of the Lord, he was able to walk again, but how he struggled through the addiction. It's not a true story, though there are some parts in it that were drawn from experience. Anyhow, what happens is to escape, he begins having flying dreams. His brother teaches him how to have flying dreams. And in one of his flying dreams, he rescues a little girl. Swoops down, picks her up from a bad man who was chasing her. And he doesn't know this, but she's actually real. And she's having the same dream, and the bad man is actually real too. And the story goes from there. I know you will enjoy it. But I don't like to promote stuff, but my wife and my kids said I should. So there you go. This next story, this one I want to share with you right now. I wish I'd have thought of this during Memorial Day weekend. It was in my email box. I didn't see it, and I apologize for that, but it's about a Green Beret. It's a story of a strong, brave man who served his country for many, many, many years in many different countries. But when he needed help, he had no difficulty. Even though he's a very strong man, he had no difficulty calling upon the Lord. I think you're going to like it. Right, here we go. Out of the thousands of U.S. soldiers serving their country, only a select few have earned the privilege to wear the Green Beret, the symbol of the Army's elite special forces. In 1989, Darrin Crowder made the cut. It was about 18 months of very difficult training, Darrin said. I gave my all, and there was no way I was going to quit. They were going to have to drag me off on a stretcher or something. So just by perseverance, I was able to make it. That fighting spirit was instilled in Darrin early on by his mother. His father died from cancer when Darrin was only 4. It was difficult growing up without a dad. I always felt that I had to figure out how to do stuff on my own. Great relationship with my mom and my sisters. We were tight. But it was difficult trying to determine what a man was supposed to be, what I was supposed to do as a guy. His father had one dying wish, that his children would grow up in church. Darrin's mom kept that promise, but when Darrin got out on his own, he stopped going. He struggled to find his own way. So at 17, he joined the Army. He excelled as a soldier and soon joined the 5th Special Forces Group. Darrin spent 16 years of his decorated military career stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. He faced unimaginable pressure fighting on the front lines in the Gulf War, Afghanistan, and the war in Iraq. Darrin could handle the pressure that came with the job. He earned a Purple Heart and 2 Bronze Stars. It was life at home that overwhelmed him. Darrin had to be in control, and he had a hard time controlling his anger, a combination that led to the failure of 2 marriages. Then, when his second wife left him, Darrin turned back to God for help. I just realized that I had tried all those years to be in control, and in doing so, had just made a complete mess of my whole life. In the back of my mind were those words from my mother and the teaching of my Sunday school teachers, my pastors, when I was a kid, of telling me who was really in control. And it was at that moment that I just cried out to God and I said, God, you know I've tried to run my life for my whole life and made a mess of it. It's yours. That's when God took over, and praise God that he did. In June 2004, Darrin's faith was tested when he was deployed to Iraq. He and 2 friends were on their way to the post exchange near the city of Balad. They were just steps away from the entrance when the building exploded. Insurgents fired rockets at the PX and landed just feet away from us, Darrin said. I fell, crawled, whatever, into the PX amid broken glass and black smoke. There was blood pouring from me. I was riddled with shrapnel all down my left side. The soldiers that were there shopping at the PX were on me very quickly. Dozens of soldiers were wounded or killed. Darrin's friend Leo survived, but his friend Paul, who had been standing beside him, was among the casualties. As Darrin was being treated for his shrapnel wounds, he struggled to make sense of what happened. I got angry with God, lying there in that bed, and how things were working out, that this wasn't any good. No good could come from this. As I lay there, I was trying to look at the wounds, and I noticed a rag, a bloody rag, Darrin said. I picked it up, and through the blood, I saw the words, 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near by you. And my heart jumped into my throat. Those words from Psalm 91 were printed on the bandana that had been used as a tourniquet on my leg. When I saw those words through that blood on that bandana, it was as if God himself sat down on the bed beside me and said, Darrin, I do know the plans I have for you, and I know the plans I had for Paul, and I had mercy on him. I brought him home, and all things do work together for good. Paul was a wonderful Christian, and he was a wonderful father, a wonderful husband, and a great friend, so I have no doubt that he'll be in heaven waiting for us. So that brings me great peace, Darrin said. But it also reaffirmed, I think, cemented my faith in knowing who God is, how big God is, and how he can bring great things out of seemingly horrible circumstances. Darrin was flown to Germany for surgery. They told me it was a miracle that I was alive. A piece of shrapnel that went in my neck had pierced the sheath of skin and wrapped around the carotid artery, and he said it should have severed the artery where it was. He said there's no explanation for it. It's a miracle. And I said I know exactly how it happened. Darrin was asked why he thinks it was him who survived. I don't know. I don't know, he said. I won't lie. I've struggled with it because I've lost a lot of friends, not just Paul, and all of them have families. I don't have anybody, and oftentimes I wonder, God, why? Because I would gladly change places with them. You know, I don't know, but I do trust God. I believe he has a great plan. Darrin has recovered from his injuries, even though he still has pain now and then. Although he retired from the army, he still considers himself a soldier. Before, I fought for the freedoms of this country, and now I fight for individual freedoms, to bring everyone the freedom and the peace that can only come through knowing the Lord. Wow, I'd like to read that last line again. Before I fought for the freedoms of this country, and now I fight for individual freedoms, to bring everyone the freedom and the peace that can only come through knowing the Lord. Amen, Darrin. And thank you for your incredible sacrifices, courage, and service. Well, quite honestly, I don't know what to say after sharing with you Darrin's experience, other than that if Darrin trusts God's after everything that happened, to have a great plan, and that he knows that he's involved in that great plan, well, that's good enough for me. Well, like I say, this is a little different from me sitting on a bench. I'm going to pan around before I go. I'll do that right now. I think beside or behind me, you can see there's a highway. I'll try to cut out the traffic sounds when I get this home. Got my motorcycle parked up there too. You're probably wondering why I'm wearing a Harley shirt and riding a Honda, but I've had Harleys, and Harley Davidson make great clothes. The best t-shirts you'll ever buy. And that's not a commercial for Harley, that's just what I know. Anyhow, I'll do a real nice 360 here so you can get a real clear idea of where I'm at and how beautiful it is. I'm surrounded on both sides by mountains. And then down here in front of me is a valley. I've seen many different animals at different times crossing through here. Anyhow, thank you very much for joining us today at Rocky Mountain Grace. My name is Lee. and may God continue to bless you and yours. Bye now.